What is going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and it's time to talk about Zap Witches at Town Hall 12. We're going to break down everything that you need to know about how you guys can use the Zap Witches. Everything from funneling, how you guys can send your witches and control them, along with the Siege Barrack versus Wall Wrecker. So if you guys enjoy this style of content and want to see more, and you would like to see a full breakdown guide, I should say, of the Town Hall 12 Zap Witches, make sure that you guys are subscribing and ringing the notification bell, because I will be bringing that in the future, and hopefully you guys will never miss any of my educational Clash of Clans content. Without further ado, let's get started. First and foremost, let's talk about the specifics that you need to know. Base identification is always going to be a very important topic, as you really want to try and look at the base design and see if it's good for this attack. Speaking of which, this is a good base design for it. We want to try and get rid of the multi-target infernos with the lightning spells. This means if there is a third multi-target inferno, it might be a better idea to use the witches and charge in for that inferno instead of letting it stay up. So of course, it's going to depend upon the base and what siege machine you're going to bring, but for the most part, that is something that you have to consider. The other thing that you want to consider is where the eagle is placed and where the town hall is. If we can use a wall wrecker, in this case we are, and if we can use that from the opposite side and get rid of the eagle artillery and move our way to the town hall, that is perfect for us. On top of this, we want to create a funnel. So we want to make sure that we're creating this side and this side by using the witches. That way we're able to send the wall wrecker in along with the rest of the witches as they continue to push in. That's kind of what you want to consider when using this. Now, before we actually go anywhere further, I want you guys to see the number of lightning spells that you need for each and every defense in the game. For those of you at Town Hall 12, this is going to be a huge help for you, as now you will be able to see what defenses and how many lightning spells that you need. More specifically, you should be looking for any defenses around the multi-target infernos, so that's definitely something that should be very apparent. Something like you see here, it's going to be very important to know the number of lightning spells that you need, because you want to be able to take down stuff like maybe the Wizard Tower or the Grand Warden Altar, or even an air defense. So you have a lot of options all around there for the most part. You just want to make sure that you're doing that. So you can see that using 4 lightning spells on either side and getting rid of stuff like the Wizard Towers along with the Infernos are always going to be really nice to get. Now on one side, we're creating a funnel by using the King and a couple witches. By using this, we're able to sort of create one side of the funnel while also using a Valkyrie. Now what this means for your attack, it means that what you're doing is you are creating the funnel with the King. You're not sending him in, you're just using him to create a funnel. So if you want to use the King to create a funnel, that's completely fine, because this gives you guys the option to do so. For the most part, you could probably bring something like a baby dragon to create the other side of the funnel, or use a Hog Rider, but we're going to be using the witches here to create the rest of the funnel as we continue to send everything in. Once we've got everything down, we're going to put the Warden right over the wall wrecker, that way we're able to protect it. Notice that it's going straight in for the eagle artillery while the witches continue to push into the base. We've got the tanks from the golems there, allowing us to continue to push through. And for us, we're going to be using the Warden ability to protect the wall wrecker and the witches as they go into the core, because, for instance, let's say they're seeing a multi-target inferno, or if they are seeing a single target like you see here, we're going to easily take care of it. Notice the use of the jump spell as well to help our witches and the ice golems from the core of the base. It's just going to help us get rid of a lot of these defensive buildings and freeze them up here. Notice all these witches in the core of the base moving their way through this direction. The Queen and King are moving, or the Queen and the Warden are moving in that direction. So we've got a nice split of witches as they continue to push into the base. Now, of course, one of your major threats that you definitely want to worry about sometimes could be the Wizard Towers, especially the Tornado Trap if it's there. So it's definitely something very important to keep in mind. But you can see that this base is absolutely wrecked. We've got a couple witches on the inside and from the sides here as they kind of flank across. We got some use of the golems on the other sides as well. But for the most part, we've got a lot of the witches still remaining as they finish the rest of the cleanup. That's really how simple this attack is for the most part. You want to make sure that you're able to send your witches in, because take a look at all those skeletons that you have. For the most part, you're just sending them all into the base. That gives you guys a good first example into using the attack, but let's go in and show you guys an example where you're going to be going up against 3 multi-infernos and you're going to be bringing the siege barrack. Now, this second example is going to be a little bit different from the first example. I want you guys to kind of take a look at the base design as a whole. The previous one showed you guys one a bit more compact using the wall wrecker. This one's using the siege barrack, and we've got corridors. It's kind of these like alleyway areas here, like you see here, that we want to try and take advantage of in some way. So that's exactly why we're bringing the use of a jump spell to get into this core. That way we have open-ended access to the rest of the base, which is definitely very important. So those common bases that you could see are definitely ones that you maybe want to take advantage of with this. Remember that you are using the lightning spells in order to get rid of the multi-target infernos. Anything that you can get within there to kind of control your witches is always going to be a very, very important thing when you are doing this attack. But you're also going to be using regular wall breakers along with just creating a funnel. Like I mentioned before, we're creating a funnel using some of the witches, 4 witches on each side. That way we can use some giants to tank for the regular wall breakers and using a freeze to get them right into the base. So you'll see the use of the giants, and then using the freeze and the wall breakers to break into the base. Usually you want to try and use a test wall breaker just in case that there is a small bomb, but there weren't any because of the Tesla. Now, as we're pushing in, if there is a giant bomb on the inside of the base, or maybe even on the outside, you may want to use the warn ability to push your way into the core of the base to protect your witches and everything else that's moving in, including your queen. Now, the reason that we use a siege barrack right behind is because we want them to go for the eagle artillery specifically. That way we can kind of get through the rest of this base. Now, something I didn't really mention here was the use of sneaky goblins to get rid of the town hall. You should try to use those in case there's a hole in the base that you can really take advantage of and getting rid of the town hall. For the most part, though, take a look at the use of the Hog Riders. We're using them in order to kind of get rid of the eagle artillery, since it was in their attack or in their range of sight as they kind of push their way in. So you want to make sure that you are getting them to go to defenses like the eagle artillery in order to kind of push into the base, and making sure that you're able to have a lot of your witches stay up for the cleanup. And like you can see here, there's not too many defensive buildings, and we're going to easily push through a large part of this base. So this shows really the power of using the witches here at Town Hall 12 and how you guys can use them very successfully. Maybe even if they don't look like they are going to finish off the attack, it's still going to show you guys the power of it and how you guys can use it. Now that you guys know how you guys can use this one, let's go over a couple different variations and different examples as well with the Town Hall 12 Zap Witches. So we've got this example right here, and this one's going to be fairly similar to the other ones. However, you're going to be seeing something a little bit different in both the tanks and in the clan castle. The tanks that we have here is a mixture of golems and ice golems. We've also got the uses of bowlers to help create a funnel, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So remember that what you're doing with the golems is you're using them as a tank, but you can use the ice golems to send them into the core, or you can save them to provide another tank for the witches on the flanks. That way you're able to still keep them alive on either side. So for the most part, remember that we're getting rid of the multi-target infernos with the lightning spells, but because this base, we're going to be hitting away from the town hall, using the wall wrecker to get over to it and get rid of the eagle artillery. And on top of this, we're creating the funnel here on this side, and we're doing the same thing here in order to provide a lot of support for our witches and heroes to move in. Very simple, very, very simple stuff. So we're going to start off with the lightning spells, and we've talked about these countless times, but what's very important is just your placement. If you want to take down particular structures, make sure that that the lightning spell is still applied to your key defense, which is the multi-target Inferno. By getting rid of that and using the lightning spells on that along with anything within the radius, it's going to be very important for you to do that because you can create some nice pathing. But for the most part, you'll see that the use of a couple witches, bowlers, and golems on either side in order to create a funnel. We're using ice golems here, and we're going to use one of these in order to tank for the witches, so that way they're not taking that many shots before we send in the wall wrecker, which is going to be the main source of tankage. So we can use the ice golems on either side. You'll see an ice golem going this way, and we'll have an ice golem over here once the golemites die out. Now, as we're pushing into the core, it might be a good idea to use the free spells to continue to provide a nice support for the wall wrecker and for the rest of the troops. This is specifically to protect the wall wrecker so it can get to the town hall, but also to protect the skeletons and the heroes and the witches as they continue to move in. Getting rid of the eager artillery is going to be one of the most important things when you're doing this attack. Now, remember that you've also got a clan castle troops, which here it's going to be the Yeti. Unlike the other one using the wall wrecker, which had two ice golems, this one has 2 yetis, and we're using them with the freeze in order to get rid of this town hall and also to kind of help out on other defensive buildings around there instead of using Hog Riders. But for the most part, take a look at either side. We've still got witches remaining on either side of the base, and we've still got witches remaining in the core along with the queen and the warden as they continue to push in. And that is really how simple, again, this attack is. I can keep saying how simple it is, but still explaining it to you guys and what's going on is very important. I want you guys to be very successful when using this attack. And you can see that definitely this is a very powerful attack. I wouldn't underestimate it. It is very powerful, and you can absolutely wreck a ton of base designs with this one strategy. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more examples of using the Zap Witches here at Town Hall 12. So here is the next example, and this one you're going to be seeing a couple different things. For instance, the use of one earthquake, and this attack is going to be going towards the town hall earlier instead of going in away from it. And that is going to be a big part, and you'll see the differences in terms of how this attack is deployed. Remember that you still want to make sure that you're getting rid of the multi-target infernos, but you're going to be trying to create a wide funnel, and you're also using the siege barrack to cut off an area. That way you can send your witches in with the super wall breakers opening up compartments and continuing to push your way in. That is how you're going to be really successful with this attack. So you'll see first the use of the earthquake. Notice how close they are. If you can take advantage of this, take advantage of the earthquake's wide radius, you can easily take stuff down, and especially multi-target infernos with a very big range. And that way you're able to kind of get rid of 2 multi-infernos if they're fairly close. Now, we're using bowlers again, but we're specifically using them on just one side in order for them to kind of create a nice wide funnel. In order for us to do that, we're using a couple bowlers for a bowler bounce, and we're also using some witches. We're going to use the king, ice golem, a couple more witches, and the siege barrack to cut off this area here. It's just going to provide more support for our witches when we push into the core. Notice the use of the super wall breakers to get into that area. And that way we're using the siege barrack to send the Hog Riders in a little bit away so we can get rid of the multi-target inferno down here, but also to make sure that we're able to create a funnel. Notice the use of the warden here, as he's going to be using the warden ability when they activate the town hall. We're going to be able to protect the witches as they push into the base. With that jump spell in hand as well, they're going to definitely have some support with it, and they're going to benefit from it. So as we're moving in, we've got a large portion of witches, wizards, we have Hog Riders, we have a P.E.K.K.A. still up, we have a lot of troops still up in the base. So if we zoom out here to kind of see what's going on, we've got some witches and a large portion of the attack moving here. Hog Riders are going to get rid of the multi-target inferno along with some of the witches and the wizards, and they're going to get rid of the eagle artillery, which is extremely important. Other than this though, you can see how this attack was deployed. We were just allowing ourselves to enter into the base, get a lot of value from the jump spell over the core, gave us access to almost everything in the base, and we already had a nice funnel set for most of our witches to go into the core, and a lot of tankage from the king, ice golem, and the P.E.K.K.A. from the siege barrack. And that kind of helped us create that entire push into the base, and look at all these troops that we still have left up. So for the most part, that is a very simple example, and it gives you guys a very neat idea into how you guys can use this. Let's take a look at one final example using the wall wrecker here at Town Hall 12 and using it with the Town Hall 12 Zap Witches. Here is your final example to using the Zap Witches here at Town Hall 12. This base design is something that is a little bit different. I don't expect you guys to see this one. However, with the Town Hall kind of placed almost in the center to kind of being a little bit more offset, this is a nice base design to still take note of. Something very similar that you maybe see in your wars, maybe those very common bases. But again, we're just using the lightning spells to get rid of some of the buildings within each of these multi-target inferno compartments. So by getting rid of these areas here, we're already allowing ourselves to get into this multi-target inferno and eagle artillery compartment. We want to try and get rid of buildings that may cause our witches to kind of stay on the outside. We want some of them to go into the base to provide a lot of support for the rest of our attack, which is something that you want to try to do. So starting off, we want to take a look at the use of the lightning spells. Using the earthquake over all the buildings help us weaken up a ton of them. And you can see that we got rid of these buildings here. And then over on the other side, we're doing the same thing for the most part by using the lightning spells here. What we're doing at that point is controlling our witches. That way what they're going to be able to do is enter into the core of the base and get down the town hall. So we're going to, again, create a funnel here and a funnel here. What we're doing is we're then going to be able to send the wall wrecker in with the golem and the witches and maybe a couple bowlers from behind in order to sort of get a monstrous push into the core. Specifically being with a couple witches. It doesn't have to be all of them. We have 4 witches on either side, but they're going to basically either move in or stay on the outside depending on what they see next and what is easiest for their pathing or for their sight range. So as we're pushing in, remember, you want to try and maybe use a rage spell if you think that your witches will benefit from it, but you also want to make sure that you are protecting the ward or the wall wrecker by using the warn ability over the town hall. Notice that the use of the Yeti and the Ice Golem in order to provide more support for the witches as they push in. We've got a large part of the witches in the core of the base as they continue to move through, and we've even got a couple witches over on the sides. However, they won't last very long, but we still have a lot of skeletons there. So for the most part, we've got a large portion of our heroes in the base along with a couple witches, and we've got some on either side on the outside. Unfortunately though, they may fall short, so it's something just to keep in mind that flank witches, unless they have a tank there, will not be able to survive for very long. But this still gives you guys a very good idea of what you should try to do when using this attack. It may look like your attack is thinning out here, and you should expect that, especially from a witch attack with no healers. So you want to make sure though that you are keeping your heroes alive as much as you can. If you don't keep them alive, that's completely fine. Remember that this does also work with low-level heroes. So if you're interested in seeing something like that, or, you know, if you're interested in using something like that, that is a great option. Just using it with low-level heroes, you can still absolutely wreck a lot of bases. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this video, and let me know if you want to see a full breakdown guide, just like what I did with the other Zap Witch related video, where I had the step-by-step into the other things that you can add. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of that style, and maybe you guys want to see it for either the next video or even for following videos or for all the videos I do going forward. But hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, make sure that you leave a like on the video, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and ringing the notification bell for more of my educational Clash of Clans content. Make sure that you guys are going ahead and following me over on the social. Follow me over on Twitch, and make sure that you join my community Discord server. The links to those are in the description, and make sure that you guys use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champ shop to save 10% off your purchase. Other than that, though, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.